Hi, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to have my June TBR. It's already almost halfway through the calendar year. Yay! Wow, this is going fast. So in June, I'm going to be doing Whateverathon, and I'm really excited about that. I love earning points. I get really competitive. I really love all of these readathons that I've found because I'm getting exposed to way more books than I would have otherwise, and like different types, and I'm excited about that. I mentioned that a few times. So normally I actually do start reading through the SCASL awards in June, but I think I'm going to save that until July, just because after the book haul I was putting all the books away, and there's a lot of books that I own that I haven't read yet, and I need to take care of that. I also want to earn as many points as I can for Whateverathon, and I am participating. I'm on the team Sunset Scholars, and love that. I mean, scholar. I'm a nerd, self-proclaimed. And there's bingo boards, which here's the bingo board for Sunset Scholars. So it is Whateverathon. You don't have to do the bingo boards. You can still earn points, but of course I'm competitive and I want to earn all the points possible. So I was going around trying to find books that would fit some of the prompts on there that were more specific, that would take a little bit more effort. I still haven't found anything for Dragon, and part of me wishes I'd saved Live Ship Traders for that one because dragons galore in there. I don't know if there's going to be any in the next trilogy, which is what I'm going to be listening to this month, and that is, I think it's called the Tawny Man Trilogy. So I don't know if there will be any dragons in there. There were in the original Farseer trilogy, but just in the last book. So we shall see. I'll probably look up some dragon books, maybe some graphic novels or something. Who knows? But so this TBR is going to be more of a pile of possibilities than an exact TBR, but there are several things that I definitely want to read, and I've had them stacked up here for a little while, and I'm excited to have at it. I'm not going to go through and say which prompt I'm going to use it for from the bingo board. I'm just going to, unless I remember, because honestly, I'm inserting the image of the bingo board later, not while I'm filming this, and I don't have it memorized. So without further ado, here are the books that I want to try to get to this month. There will be more that I will be getting to, probably from my e-arcs. I'm making good progress through those NetGalley e-arcs, but there's a lot on there that I want to get to, and also all of the graphic novels that I've gotten myself into. So speaking of graphic novels, I want to read this graphic novel set. So this is the complete set, and I'm also probably going to buy Run, which is the graphic novel that was published posthumously, and I believe was the last graphic novel that John Lewis was working on, and I'm really excited. The artwork looks phenomenal. I have a lot of admiration for John Lewis, and I would love to learn more about his story. The next several are, let's see. The next several I'm going to talk about are BookBox. The next several that I'm going to talk about are BookBox. The next several that I'm going to talk about are BookBox books, and for that we have Black Girls Must Be Magic. If I'm remembering correctly, one of the prompts is something about a genre that you don't read a lot of. I don't read a lot of this genre, so I'm excited to give that a try. I know that one of the prompts is a shiny book, and I wasn't thinking about that when I got that, but I don't know if it's coming up on camera. But there's gold foiling on the front of this, and I'm really excited. I've talked about the synopsis of these both in the unboxings as well as in my book haul, so I'm not going to spend too long on that. but I actually am really excited and eager to get to this one. We also have Gallant by Ve Schwab. This one is a host pick, and I'm really struggling with all of the host picks that are on there because a lot of the ones that I'm interested in or that I have copies of, I've already read, but this one I haven't, and I knew that I wanted to get to this one, and I forget which host this is a favorite for, but this is one of the favorites. So I probably will get to some of the others, I just don't know when. And then we also have Blood Cyan. This one has been calling out to me because it is so pretty, and every time I talk about it, I have to show the naked hardcover. That's gonna be so fun to read, to be able to read this book without the dust jacket and still have to be pretty. The next one that I remember is a 2021 release, and I was looking through all of my TBR cart to try to find a 2021 release, but all of my BookBox books are from this year because that's when I started getting those boxes, and a lot of the other new stuff that I got was from before then, but I did find one, and that is Believing by Anita Hill. And again, I still want to be getting in nonfiction, so here's one of the nonfictions that I will be getting in this month. I realized as I'm looking at my pile that I have here, I don't have much nonfiction, so I'll have to work on that. I know at least one of my e-arcs is nonfiction, so I probably will prioritize that. And then another one is a scholarly book, or a book about books. I think it's a book about books. And for that one, I'm going to read A Novel Approach. I got this back when I still taught ELA. So I don't teach ELA, but I love novels. I don't think I'll ever teach ELA again, but never say never. But I have this, so I'm going to read it, and it fulfills a prompt. The rest I'm not sure if they fulfill a prompt or not. I just want to get them off my cart. And so this is an arc that I won through Library Thing, and this is a memoir, With or Without Me, a memoir of losing and finding by Esther Maria Magnus. I know or remember nothing about this because I won it a while back. And when you win these arcs off of Library Thing, you request it in 1 month, you are notified that you've won the next, and then it can take another month or so for it to get to you. So I don't remember how far back I requested this, but again, this is another nonfiction, and I just realized it's the third nonfiction because it's a memoir. Then I'm gonna get back to The Wheel of Time. I started it and was reading it slowly. I was going to watch the the Amazon adaptation. Have I watched the Amazon adaptation yet? No. I've been watching a lot of BookTube instead. I haven't really watched any actual streaming or TV or whatever. So haven't gotten to that, and from what I've heard, that's okay. I'm not super invested in the series yet, but there's part of me that just wants to be accomplished and finish this massive series and be able to really bone up on my fantasy chops, because I'm getting into Robin Hobb and Brandon Sanderson, and so why not Wheel of Time with Robert Jordan and then Brandon Sanderson and a 14-book series. And so I'm going to pick up The Great Hunt, which is book 2. The next book has been on my TBR cart since last year, and that is The Sandcastle Girls by Chris Bojongan. And I have heard a lot about this author, and it's not that I've heard a lot about him, I should say. It's that he came to my attention, or his name jumped out at me, as well as his works, because he's Armenian and he writes about those topics. And because I am Armenian, I want to support that in everything I do. And I think this book So this book is told in dual perspective. One is in Aleppo, Syria in 1915, when the genocide starts. And the other timeline is in New York City in 2012. So I'm really intrigued by that, but I want to get this read and off of my TBR cart before I go to the next really big book sale, which is probably going to be in the beginning of August. And I got 19 books last time, but I've been getting a lot more books lately, so who knows how many books I'll bring home from that one. Speaking of a book that has been on my TBR for a while, even longer than I've had a cart, even longer than Sandcastle Girls, and that is Mapping the Bones by Jane Yolen. One of the other teachers my first year at my current school, Okay, so in 2020, when everything shut down, we were working on a STEAM project, which is science, technology, engineering, arts, math. So it's basically all cross-curricular because my school's supposed to be a PBL, a project-based learning school. And we were doing, on my team, we were just doing ELA and social studies because I was on a half team and I taught both ELA and social studies. But we were doing it based on World War II, and we were combining it where they were reading a novel, World War II novel, and then they were creating an artifact, a museum piece to go along with it. And we were gonna have this really cool, like, living museum that we never got to do. All the kids got all their projects almost all the way done, and then they didn't get to show up. But this was one of the books that I had, like, brought home with me around that time, or had in my car because we'd been thinking about it. And so I wanted to read it because I wasn't going to recommend a book or give my kids the choice of a book to read for this project without reading it. And I never got around to reading it, and still haven't gotten around to reading it, so I'm going to read it now. The next two are fairly recent ones from two different book hauls. This one is from my Atlanta book haul. I have read this book in Spanish and it was really powerful in Spanish, but I want to read it in English because obviously English is my native language, and I want to be able to hopefully pick up on all the nuances that I missed while reading it in my second language. So I'm excited to get to this. Ruta Sepetys is an amazing author. And then finally, this is from my school buy one get one free Scholastic Book Fair haul that I had in the last video, and that is On the Come Up by Angie Thomas. This is her, not her most recent, this was her second novel in between The Hate You Give and Concrete Rose. So I really love The Hate You Give. Concrete Rose was great. So I'm hoping that On the Come Up lands on the side of The Hate You Give. So that is just about 15, 18 books, but I put my goal for Whateverathon at 25, and you get even more points if you beat that goal. And after the first 3 days in June, I will be done with school. I'm so excited about that. No idea. But that means that I can read a lot more, and I'm planning to read a lot more. And if my Whateverathon results are any indication, I can read a lot more. So I don't know how many ultimately that I plan, but it's going to be a lot more than what I just talked about, and I'm really excited about that. So chat with me in the comments if you have any questions about any of the books that I'm reading, any thoughts about any of them. Did you read them and enjoy them? Can you suggest other books that you may think that I will like? Thanks so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one.